Hi, Teresa. This is April Biss. Again, thank you for being so patient. I just finished, I'm in between sessions with my daughter's cyber school. So it's been pretty interesting the last 3 days. She goes Monday and Tuesday in school, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are at home. So it's been kind of a crazy week. This is the first full week that she actually had school, so I'm kind of adjusting everything. But I didn't forget about you. I had this on my to-do list, like I told you. I am going to do this video. I usually give you feedback through your PDF and I type in sticky notes, but because the way that your PDF is created, I cannot comment on each of these. For some reason, when I go to my tools and I go to comment, I cannot do that. So I'm not sure if your PDFs, because they're all in one, if that's the case or if it's locked, but I'm just going to give you this feedback through video and hopefully this helps. I know Dana and DES250 would rather have written instructions for feedback, but I'm just going to do it this way. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so your Chinese and sushi restaurant cover looks great. I love the fact that you're compositing these images in here to create this really interesting cover. I think everything is pretty much readable and it works really well balance-wise. I think my only suggestions would be on the inside of your actual menu. I see a couple alignment issues and I just wanted to address some other things going on here. So the subheads, what you have here in your scripty font is, you know, typically what they say in typography is you never want to have words spelled out in capital letters if you're using any type of script or calligraphy font. The reason for this is because it makes it really extremely hard to read. So what I would do, you could have the first letter capitalized, but every other letter should be lowercase. And that would be for your subheads up, you know, here. Kind of like what you did here, only it would be in your menu items. Another thing that I noticed is your price points. Some of them have leaders, which are these ... dots, and some of them don't. They're not aligned really consistently, so this one is aligning more to the left than this one, and then this one's different. So go in there and set your tabs in your style sheets so that all of your tabs, you know, these should all have its own, you know, one style that you're setting this to, and your tabs should all align with right where your body copy text ends. And then it would be consistent. Another thing is with consistency of your leaders, either have leaders or not. So I would do either or, but keep it consistent. So all of these would need to be adjusted in terms of alignment. Another thing that I noticed, and a lot of students do this, and I think it's okay if you have smaller, like say if it's an ad and you only had like 1 or 2 lines of body copy. But what happens when you have more than that, like say for instance this paragraph, and you're doing your justified alignment, you get these weird white, bigger gaps in between words, like right here in this sentence. And that's just because it's trying to space itself out evenly. So I would just go back to your justified left instead of justified for all of your body copy. Let's see, what else? So that would be for every single body copy area that you have even here. I would make these 2 elements a little bit smaller picture-wise so that you have more space in between these sections because it's kind of crammed in here. Same thing here with your drinks. You know, once you size these a little smaller, you know, maybe like this size, maybe instead of what you have, it'll give you more space to play around with. Okay, so good job on that for the most part. Your typography, the 19 rules of typography. Let's see here. All right, so you have, that looks pretty good actually. Okay, these are your rules of 19. Okay, I got it, these typos on. Okay, what you might want to do here is just make sure all of these bullet points are consistent. You know, I know that's in this typeface, but I would just keep it in one typeface. It's okay to have these in their own particular typeface, but I would keep the bullet point very consistent. That way it doesn't look all wonky there, and have it align together consistently. Okay, too many typefaces at one time, too many, okay, good, that looks good. Too similar of typeface, good. Yep, see, I was just telling you about this. Set text all capital letters. Definitely makes it harder to read, and that's kind of my comment to you on your menu. So here we go. Here's an instance for rule number 4. Okay, this looks good. Avoid too many times. Good. All right, too light, good. Distorting, that's good. Okay. How about rags? Okay, so you're talking about avoiding widows and you have it like this. So why don't you fix this widow here on this one, just FYI. Let's see, rule 16. Maintaining kind of type. Yep. Okay, so that looks good. Just a couple things on that one. All right, this is your, oops, I don't know why it's freaking out here. Let me zoom out. Oh, this is a mock-up. Okay, so what I'm seeing here in this mock-up, I mean, mock-ups are great, but they only work if they're actually the ratio of your piece. This looks a little bit wider than tall for your piece. So what I would do is maybe try to find one that, a mock-up that fits better, because right now it almost looks too squat, a little bit too wide. And I would show this in a flat version too. So that means just your, you know, trim sized here, just a flat version of this so that people can actually view it. It's okay to see it in a real life mock-up, but also it's also good to present it in a flat way as well. Because I can't really quite see and read this. It's a little pixelated, and you know, obviously things might be in a different perspective when you're doing a mock-up. In regards to your poster, there's a lot of crammed areas in here. You don't have a lot of good space. The logo is way too big. You don't even have to have it that big. I would do it like maybe this big. So half that size, you know, you might even want to drag that up here instead and pull everything down closer to your body copy, you know, your headline down here. But the logo shouldn't be that big. And that'll give you more white space, negative space, I should say, so that it doesn't look so crammed. Okay. All right, for the inside, or sorry, outside of your brochure, let's take a look at this, kayak tours. It's a lot of information here. Your cover looks good. It looks like you're distorting the logo. It's vertically distorted, so it looks taller than it should be. So go back and make sure you're not distorting that. When you distort your logo, it's showing in a different way, so that brand recognition becomes degraded. So people don't want to see their logo in different ways. They want to see it consistent. You know, they pay a lot of money for logos to look consistent. Same thing on the back cover here, it's distorted. You have your back panel, you know, you have your subhead and your type centered, aligned. Why not do that to the bottom? Keep it consistent. Maybe think about doing that for the front. Keep everything kind of centered. It's a little hard to see this type here on the blue type over top of this. The contrast is not quite there. You have a widow going on there, just small, little picky things. On the inside, you know, I would up your contrast a little bit for it to be easier to read. It's okay to see through it. I like that effect, but you also have to be able to read it. So I would definitely change the blue though. The blue is really hard to read in your subheads and your headlines. I like the back, you know, pictures. I think that looks great. Okay, let's move along here. All right, so this is your ad for Ma Papas, and you have your logo in here. Okay. I mean, so this looks good. I like the overall bleeding of the image. I just think that there's just a lot of information here that's just crammed, and I want to see it breathe a little bit. So I'd maybe make the logo just a little smaller, kind of like this size, so that you have more space in between your other information here. I mean, I would even pull down maybe this information closer to the reservations area, and I think about maybe just adding a little bit more space in between there. Is that the only page for that? Let me see. Let me go back here. Yeah, that was only one page. Okay. So let's see. Because it's hard to load here. It's a lot of pieces going together here. Okay, let me zoom in one more time. There we go. Okay. This is your kiosk, your interactive kiosk, touch to begin. I don't know if you really even need this information down here. I would take that off just for presentation sake if you're just showing this as your first screen, for instance. Make sure your circle is definitely centered. It looks a little off here. Also make sure you don't have any gaps above here. If you have an outline around here, make sure you're meeting all those areas here. Opening title page, good. Oh, this looks good. Very clean, color coded. I think that's great that you color coded these areas for the departments. It's good. You know, why not do that, carry over those same buttons over to this part, you know, where instead of having these boring rectangles, you have these nice rectangles with these little circles at the end and have, you don't even have to have those icons, just have the words in here. Keep it consistent. Looks pretty good. And again, just kind of pay attention to your gaps up here. That looks good. Same thing here. Oh, I see you have it up here. Let me see. Oh, I see. Okay. That's probably fine. I would probably bleed these off then on the side. Just take this all the way to the side and keep it like rectangle. Same thing here. Just bleed it off to the side. It just might look better because you have it bleeding off of here. Keep it consistent. Oh, skip the page here. All right. Next thing. It looks like you're stationary. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this looks good. Just make sure it's not stretching too much. This one looks a little bit more stretched. I know the perspective is a little different. I guess, you know, just kind of being mindful of your margin too. It's getting really close to that edge there. You might want to push your logo a little bit to the right. See how you have margin here? You don't have it here. I would definitely gain some margin space in there. Did you have more than one page there? Let me see here. There's a lot of, no, I don't think so. Let's see. Did it? Okay. Okay. Let's go to the next one. I might have to do 2 videos because my daughter's going to be logging in about 5 minutes to her next session of cyber school. So I might have to break this up into 2 videos. All right, so the Remodeler magazine cover, it looks good. I would say the only thing I would do, I don't know, I would pull all these two articles to the right. You can leave like space in between, like a lot of space like this. Just pull these to the right so that, I don't know, just it might align better with all of this because you already have this tab up here, kind of makes it a circular, you know, circular step. You could probably downsize this just a little bit too. That way you gain a little bit more space, but pull this over and pull this over and right align just as you did up here. Just leave some spaces in between. You might even want to pull the logo down just slightly. It's very close to the top trim edge. You might want to pull that down, make it a little smaller. It's getting really close to that trim edge as well. Okay, the inside this issue. Oh, that's cute. You have a little tab there. That looks good. Okay. And then 2 goes on to page 7. So I'm going to skip to page 7, just make sure it's consistent. Okay, that looks good, consistent wise. Again, see how you have these big gaps in between your letters, words? Do a left align. Don't do your justified for your body copy. Okay, that's for all the body copy. You're gonna need to adjust that because it looks like you did that for all of these, all of your body copy. Okay, so this page looks good. It is consistent with page 7. That's great. I love your capital drop caps. They're very stylish. I think you did a great job with that. I like how you angled this picture. It's very nice, and you have this nice little design element in there. That looks good. I'm just looking for just little things to be picky. For instance, you know, you have these nice spaces in between your paragraphs here. I'm not sure if it's consistent. Double check that after the word years to come. It looks a little like it's not very consistent with what you have here. That's small though. Just fix any widows like this. Make sure that all of your baselines, see how they're not adding up here? If you draw like a line going all the way across this 3 columns of text, they should all align on the same baseline. So you have some spacing issues. You know, I could see it here right after this paragraph, and this is different than here. Make sure the spaces before each subhead is equal, and make sure that your body copy is you have your baseline alignment on, so that you're not having these alignment issues. See how the bottom is not aligning, and you're from column to column is not aligning either. That's a big thing. Fix any, these are called orphans, and that's when there's a weird break from one column and you only leave a couple words to the top new column. Fix that so at least you have at least 2 sentences, or bump this over here. If you're, you know, messing around with your, you know, when you do your left align, that might help all of this too. That might fix all of your weird stuff going on. So you might have to go and check. Right here is a weird, I don't know if this should be a space here, or this B should be put back up here after space. Also here, you know, all this should be aligning on the top, and it's not. Same thing down here. Yeah, just make sure that you have everything consistent. Your body copy needs to align, and also your body copy should not be justified. Your ad looks great. You just be more mindful of your margin space. You have no margin space here. Okay, so pull everything to the right about a 1/2 inch. All right, I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna make another recording after this, and we'll go on with the rest of your stuff.